Good morning, this is Piggsy doing another video. Why not? If Corona's going wild, why not do some videos? And I also suggest you do some videos as well, it's all good fun. You'll be surprised. Surprised the people, like-minded people you'll find out there. So, the other thing to do is take advantage of any internet ways to log in or benefits or anything that's coming out from the government. I mean, personally, I think they have to prove loss of earnings, and I think maybe they should just get on and do work in the community. But you need to isolate people who are vulnerable, and the way you do it is underlying conditions, potentially history to viruses. Now, it's not a flu, but if you're prone to respiratory diseases and you have severe issues like that, then that can be a problem. I think the worst thing I had was, it had for ages, a whooping cough. That was quite severe when I was young. So I've had some serious illnesses in the past, and I've got through them okay. But yeah, they certainly had paid a toll. So I'm not completely immortal, but I'm not really. I think mental attitude has a big impact as well, if you're afraid of something. And also testing, there's an issue around queuing. So if you're having mild symptoms and you think it's corona and it's mild, it may be worth letting somebody know that you've got that, but you don't need to go and wait in a line for a few hours to get some sort of testing kit to prove or disprove you've got an illness, because everyone else is doing the same thing. And if you didn't have corona, there's a good chance you could pick it up from somebody else while you're hanging around there. And or you could give someone with corona some other type of disease and kill them off. So you have to be a bit more sensible. There must be a better way of getting them to you. You'd be better off getting someone to collect them for you. So get someone who's healthy to queue and go get your bloody corona test kit if you want that. I personally would stay at home, suggest that you might possibly have coronavirus, and then take every bloody precaution you can to get better. Rest is best. So you want to, if you're going to go to battle, you've got to have the right type of energy levels. So you can't fight too many battles at the same front. So if you're running down the road to get your test and you're worried that you've got illness, you might have a flipping hay fever because of the time of the year. Who knows? It's sunnier and hot, which is better. There we go. I'm going to let you go. Yeah, it's potentially better. It's potentially better for you. So yeah, that's why it's just a person just putting a hand up to wave. Thank you. Let's let them out. Oh, and there's some other issues as well, like being unemployed. If your boss is saying, look, we can possibly lay you off, get ready for that. Nobody wants to be outside the job centre, queuing up, waiting to get in, and a massive influx of jobless people. You know, it's a bit like recently a trend. I went to a petrol station and some prostitute jumped out on me. I got in my car and she come up to her and I just waved her off. But you know, that doesn't normally happen in the daytime. Someone will come up and ask if you want any business or whatever. I must look desperate. I say, F off, don't you know what MGTOW is? I don't got a fucking interest in you. It's not exactly going to add anything to me. Hypergamy or something, I don't know. What's that going? Anyway, I wouldn't have something like that. Even if you found some. See, the problem is, if someone was in a need, you could help them out. And to be honest, taking in a bit like a project, taking in a person, taking care of them, and rebuilding them, would be fine. But if you took someone like that in there, because I'd have to work and so on, what happened is that I'd come home, she would have probably sold half of my property for drugs or something, or I'd find some bloody pimp in my place or something mad. So it's too much work, and you'd have to put someone through some kind of discipline. You'd have to take them out and have a chat and say, look, this is kind of the target. And tell you, I wouldn't form a relationship unless I know A, the person's clean, who they really are. If someone's homeless and they've got nowhere to go, and or maybe they were abused when they were younger, I mean, I can overlook certain things, but the thing is, what I look for is permanent, relationship-wise. And I might as well go into a completely different. So I was looking at polygamy. I was thinking, how would that work? The model that most people are is like the creepy, take advantage of women. It kind of comes across that way. It might be not like that. Maybe a cultural thing. They've accepted it. That, you know, oh well, we we just want to have children and be the mums in the family, and while the man goes to work. It's a little bit backwards thinking. Personally, I'd rather would have a partner, and then possibly the opportunity of having a child with them. Maybe not 2 children, maybe just 1 child, and that they can go work and have a full career and everything else, and that the kind of the payload of dealing with that is shared amongst the sister wives and myself. That's how it'd work in that situation. But I wouldn't be interested in trying to get as many children out, because unless I've got loads of resources, I can't afford to give them anything. It's quality, not quantity. I'd rather raise a king than sort of raise a lot of urchins. So maybe, I don't know, a bit harsh on you, a bit harsh. But yeah, I mean, it's just a case like you don't resemble something that looks quite feral. I love children, don't get me wrong, I actually love children, but I prefer my own children, which is than somebody else's, because somebody else's, there's nothing, it's like a lion, it's because I'm a Leo, I don't really gain anything from having someone else's children there. Not in the same way. It's a bit, but that might be for all men's dynamics. It depends. Depends how you see your role. And I saw some terrible things, terrible mistakes, polygamy type mistakes. Somebody, it's the other reverse. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. So this guy said he didn't want to have a child. His missus did want a child. He flapped around, and his suggestion was she goes and gets out a child with another man. What the hell is he on? Drugs? So they brought another man into the relationship. He's fathered a child with her, and now the bloke who didn't want a child but wishes he did have a child, now wants a child. She doesn't want a child, and so they're looking to get another partner outside of that. Is he stupid? So you have this wonderful, beautiful woman. She wants to have a child. You're not too sure, which is fair enough. And then you decide to give her to another man. Isn't totally nuts. But anyway, he doesn't obviously. He's like eunuch or something. I don't understand the mentality behind that one. But that's up to him. It's pride and power. There's too many feminised men out there. It's not bad to have feminine qualities, but there's got to be balance. It's like this stuff about going out and clapping for NHS workers, and I was watching, I think, the One Show, they call it in the UK, and this chap was almost crying, saying, "Oh, what a wonderful job they're doing." I think, just man up, it's a fucking disease. When you go to war, you don't boo your eyes out over the soldiers. I don't like men so weak like that. I want strong figures in times of war. I don't want people that are bloody gonna break. I just tell them that. I say, "Are you some kind of sissy? Get your head straight and get on with it." You know, it's like the weak father figures. You can't be. It's a bit like, I kind of resent the clapping, because I don't come from a family where I praised. I prove things to myself, and it seems I've actually learnt to reject it to some degree. I do like praise if it's genuine, but if it's ingenuine, it's an insult, and I think that's where it insults me. You know, it's not like I go, well, if a police officer does a job, you stand there start clapping your hands off. Well done, you've arrested him. Well done. You know, it's sort of like, really? Anyway, so yeah, so I'm bitching on about things like that. But yeah, it's interesting dynamics. I was just looking at that. I'm thinking, but then again, I think I could also be a good husband. And could I be a good husband to sister-wise? Well, possibly. I mean, the only time I'd have more children is if we were financially quite advantaged, put it that way. Otherwise, it's ludicrous. I remember when going back down the MGTOW route, but I guess having more than one woman, because what you'd have is one man between how many wives you have. But you want to keep that pretty low, because you can't give quality time to a wife if you just see him like some sort of an asset. And most women want one child, and remember that it's 2.5 is the average or something of a household family. And if you want to depopulise having one child, they replicate themselves, but they don't necessarily replicate me. Partially I do, because they're the one child with me. But you know, it's not like a couple and we had two children. If you had one child per wife, it also means they can put a lot of energy. And the other thing is the interchange between the wives. You create a relationship where the children should be kind of shared assets, don't be kind of selfishly controlled, that they feel they're one family in that essence. So they're all kind of mothers, which might be creepy or confusing. And it also means you can marry anyone. Well, you could have an older sister wives, and you've got younger one. Age, you wouldn't have age restrictions, because there's a lot of this funniness where they say, well, we won't date them because they're divorced. But I don't want to take on other people's children. Some models might work, they can't have kids, but they take on women, other women, that's fine. Okay. Da-dee-da-dee-da. So yeah, it's all good, it's all good. Anyway, this is Piggsy signing off, and speak to you soon, bye.